Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com with another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements of the week ending October 16th, 2017. I'm back in the US now and should be back on normal schedule. Anyway, this is episode number 117 of the recap and the first bit of news this week. And the biggest news is from Digital Extremes and is about Warframe. The game's highly anticipated Plains of Eidolon expansion went live this last week, and with it comes a ton of new content, including brand new open world zones, day and night cycles, new missions, new gear, massive 10-story and high enemy bosses called Eidolons, and so much more. As expected, with the launch of Plains of Eidolon, the game's player base has jumped quite a bit, with the average concurrent player base going from 37,000 on Steam to a bit over 90,000, and with peak concurrent players hitting about 120,000 over this weekend. It's actually the highest all-time peak for the game since it launched. I've yet to play Eidolon, but my friends who have played it have been enjoying it quite a bit. If you never played Warframe yet, perhaps now is a great time to check it out. It plays a lot like Destiny, except it's free to play. Next up, Fantasy XIV released a new housing district of Shirogane over the weekend, and as expected, it filled up within 15 minutes on the busier servers. The game added about 720 new housing units to the game, all of which were snapped up right away, and many of which were flipped for immediate profits, which left many players outraged and frustrated. To be honest though, despite really enjoying Fantasy XIV, the way the game handles its scarce housing is probably one of the worst I've seen. Nicer plots of land in new zones which were available for 50 million were quickly bought up and sold for 500 million, a tenfold increase within 30 minutes after servers coming up. I'm not really sure what Square Enix was expecting. They added 720 new housing units, and over 5,000 people were just refreshing instantly to get on the server the second they came up to try and buy that piece of valuable land. Obviously, most people were going to be upset and disappointed. Fortunately though, Yoshi P, the game's producer, did say that they were finally going to be addressing the housing shortage with patch 4.2, which would add new housing units to every district in the game. No word on when 4.2 is coming out just yet though, but I am glad that they're finally addressing this issue. We won't know how many new housing units they're going to add, but anything they do add will help alleviate the problem. Up next, Revelation Online introduced some brand new endgame content with the introduction of 3 new difficulty modes to the Eternal Chasm raid. Level 79 players will have access to the Eternal Chasm 5-man, 10-man, and 10-man legendary difficulties. The dungeon includes 9 bosses, including 2 hidden ones, and players who defeat them have a chance of getting the extremely rare Fire Dinosaur mount. If you never tried Revelation Online, it's worth checking out simply because of how different it is. It's one of the few Chinese-developed PC MMORPGs that actually made its way over to the West in a good while. It's a bit of an oddball though, definitely a bit of an oddball. Next up, Closers just wrapped up their 5th alpha weekend yesterday and has their 6th and final alpha weekend scheduled for next week. While we have no word on exactly when Closers will launch into open beta, InMass did say that they plan to launch the game this year, so expect some kind of announcement shortly after the next alpha weekend, probably sometime next week. If you've never heard of Closers, it's another anime-inspired action MMORPG, kind of like Critical Online, Soul Worker, and Dungeon Fighter Online, with instance dungeons and persistent hubs. It's been out in South Korea for a few years now, so it's definitely coming to the West a bit late, but at least it's coming. And speaking of anime-inspired action MMORPGs launching by the end of the year, Soul Worker is scheduled to launch again by the end of the year. Fortunately, Gameforge hasn't released any new information since August, when they first revealed that the game was launching this year. Personally, I like the art style of Soul Worker a lot more than Closers. It actually looks a lot cleaner. Oh, and also has a guitar-wielding lolly in it, which makes it A+ in my book. Soul Worker has also been available in Asia for a couple years, and is finally making its way over to the West soonish. Hopefully we'll hear more about this one soon, but right now, all we know is it's happening by the end of the year. Up next, we have Mu Legend, which announced that open beta testing for the open-world, persistent Diablo-esque MMORPG is set to begin on November 7th. While Mu Legend doesn't have nearly as much hype as Lost Ark or Lineage Eternal, this one's actually set to launch relatively soon, in just under a month actually. Not much to say here though, open beta testing begins on November 7th. Previously we knew it was November, now we got that nailed down to November 7th. I actually plan on giving this one a try because I did play in closed beta and it was pretty fun. Next up, Secret World Legends opens its doors to the ominous Orochi Tower, which is the final chapter of the game's Tokyo storyline in its latest update. The new Orochi Tower features hours of new story and gameplay content across over 20 new sections. Also including the update is a new layer called Kantoku Temple. While a lot of hype for Secret World Legends has already died down, it still remains quite popular, more popular at least than the original Secret World. On Steam, the game's active player base sits at around 870 users online at any given time over the last 30 days, which is down quite a bit from the 3,740 peak, which was shortly after its Steam launch back in July 31st. However, it still gets more players than the original Secret World. Plus, if you're looking for a game with really interesting storytelling, give Secret World Legends a try. There's nothing else quite like it. It's got conspiracies, it's got some more of a modern setting with some fantasy elements and other crazy goodies. Some actual good storytelling with this one. Up next, a small bit of industry news from the folks over at Riot Games. Founders Brandon Beck and Mark Merrill post on the Riot Games blog that they'll be returning to a more active role at actually making games, instead of the executive roles which they've assumed for a while now. This means that they may actually finally put the S in Riot Games in the near future. This isn't the first time they've been teasing a new project though. Riot Games did actually acquire the studio behind Rising Thunder, but that game has since been shut down. While no official project has been announced, I think we can expect a new title announcement from Riot Games and its two founders sometime next year maybe, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, the previously discussed Arsenal update for Tera just went live this week on October 10th to be precise. It introduced new gear progression system for endgame as well as 2 new dungeons, Thaumaturge Refinery and Arcanine Kennel. There are already a few more Tera updates scheduled to go live by the end of the year too, so there's a lot to look forward to as a Tera player. I'm still curious though when the console version is set to launch. No word on that one just yet, but it was playable at PAX last month, so it's probably not too far away. Next, in a smaller update, Nexon announced the upcoming Midnight Monster Bash event for MapleStory, which is set to begin on October 18th, 2017. It's a Halloween-themed event for the game, and they released this really cute trailer for it showing it off. Nexon also announced a handful of other events between now and the end of November, including a Thanksgiving event. I've been playing MapleStory on and off forever, since beta actually. MapleStory has always been really good with events. There's basically always some kind of event going on, or one right around the corner. Unfortunately, there is still no news on MapleStory 2. I'm still eager to hear about that one, but we'll have to wait for now. The next and last bit of news this week is about the player-based numbers from Fortnite Battle Royale and PUBG. Both games continue to absolutely kill it. Epic Games actually just announced this last week that the Fortnite hit 10 million players this week, and that's just coming off last week where we talked about the game hitting 7 million players. Numbers keep getting better and better. Fortnite Battle Royale isn't alone though in celebrating big numbers. The big daddy of Battle Royale, Playerunknown's Battlegrounds, hit a stunning 2.2 million concurrent users this last weekend, up nearly 10% in just the last week alone. Over 1/3 of everyone playing a game on Steam yesterday was playing Playerunknown's Battlegrounds, which goes to show just how incredibly huge this game has become and how big the genre is getting. What makes this even more spectacular is just how quickly the game is still growing. I wonder where it's going to slow down. And of course, with the increase in popularity, I expect my PlayerUnknown's trenchcoats to keep going up in value, so I'm definitely a happy camper. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.